friend Charles Davis. The Coliseum back to its original 70s glory. What a scene in the East Bay, and we're underway in the John Madden Legacy game. A solid return, pretty good field position. They'll start at the 32. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. The coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over in Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. He played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in the conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
That throw by Brady, incomplete. But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp, actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And it's there, during that time, I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
So we're through one at the Coliseum in Oakland. The AFC with the football here to begin the second quarter, as they've got it with a 2nd down and 2 coming up. Now Allen, a beautiful fake. And he takes it down to the 10-yard line. Sets him up nicely. 1st and goal. It was a pickup of 14. Brady now to throw. And it'll be intercepted. Picked off by Deion Sanders. And now nothing but green ahead of him. The 30. 10. And he's going to bring this one back for an NFC touchdown. So from one end zone all the way to the other. Talk about a turnaround.
And how about the excitement that that play generates for his team? Not just the points on the board, but the momentum and taking it from coast to coast, end zone to end zone. What a tremendous play. Now get that man an oxygen tank.
That's your boy Old Mo, you said. Momentum, right?
Old Mo, I think he's kind of limping across at the end because of that distance, but he made it.
So they'll get another shot on offense following that pick six. And now the kick is away. And Hall not going to bring this one out. And the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the right. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw.
Allen hit. He lost the football. And they are going to take over right there at the 22-yard line. Play action. It's Favre. Rolling to his left. And he's brought down here just outside of the 20. And Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course. And the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon. Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, in the NFL were about to go on.
And able to get him down, but he does reach the 5. They're able to convert on third down, and that sets up a first and goal. They'll run with Sanders. And he's going to press this one forward as they stop him right around the 1. Second and goal from the 1. Once again with Sanders. And they'll bring him down after just a short pickup. Calling a gain of a yard as they get a little bit closer here. It's third and goal. They'll try and power it in with Juszczyk. He's not going to get there. That won't even be close. It was blown up in the backfield. Now the AFC going to use the first of their timeouts as they get the stoppage with a little over 50 seconds to go in the first half. Anderson's kick is good, and that will extend their lead even further. So they get the turnover in plus territory. The drive stalls out, but still able to get 3 out of that.
Yeah, we were able to see offense and the defense kind of mix and match with each other, didn't we? Both of them trying to make sure that they had the upper hand and the advantage. Offense trying to get to the end zone. Defense, of course, trying to hold them to a field goal attempt. And it wasn't a guaranteed lock 3 from where they started. So, you know, the offense has to be happy to come away with those 3 points.
The AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only top.
The ball popped in the air and intercepted. Picked up by the Hall of Famer John Lynch. And his guys are going to take over at the 34-yard line. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. And with a 10-0 lead, you figure they won't try to do anything foolish here. Off the play fake, here's Favre. And this one is incomplete.
Well, partner, they're not content to run this one out as we head towards the half, trying to hit a big chunk play right there and add to their score.
Yeah, this is a confident group. At the very least, they're thinking field goal.
Yeah, and I don't blame them one bit. I don't think you sit on the ball going into the half when you have a chance to put some more points on the board.
And he'll be out of bounds after getting this one across the 40. And it looks like we've got a dime set here defensively. 6 DBs in the game. Here's Favre to throw. Now he's going to get this all the way down inside the 35. Now the NFC going to call the first of their 3 timeouts, as they'll stop it with 17 seconds to go in this first half of action. So they'll come up 1st and 10 now from the 33. From the shotgun, it's Favre. And inside the 20 before he's brought down. Now a timeout signaled for, and they'll get it with 10 seconds to go before halftime. So from the 17 now, here's a 1st and 10. From the red zone now, they'll look to throw. And that is incomplete. 7 seconds remaining.
As this old brain remembers, when I see 5 wide receivers on the field as a defender, I know the ball's coming out high. They expected it and got there and popped it free.
Now a 2nd down throw for the end zone, but it's incomplete.
They haven't been able to stop them so far this series, but getting a nice little stand from their defense now.
So with 2 ticks left here in the half, on is the field goal unit. From the right hash, just a 34-yard attempt. The Hall of Famer's kick is good, and that will do it for the... Coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a very special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by Trey Mosley. The AFC going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game. No run back here for Hall, and this will come out to the 25. The offense for the AFC set to go now. This offense, Charles, had a strong first half throwing the football, at least in terms of yardage, but that hasn't translated so far on the scoreboard as they begin the third quarter here, trailing and looking for a little momentum.
Yeah, you're right about that because, you know, let's face it, in the first half, most of their focus was in the passing game. And to their credit, resulted in a healthy amount of yardage. So I would think that at halftime, they're going to anticipate that defense loosening up a little bit to try and cover the passing lanes. They've got to get the running game going, and there should be some gaps to run through now.
Got a man. That's Tim Brown. And brought down, but not before reaching the 45-yard line. Here's Allen, able to slither by. So now, Charles, and to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42, he had just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, it was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on to call 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the tension.
Back now here on EA Sports. So 2 of 2 on third down conversions on this drive, and now they face a 3rd and 3 here. Now Brady. And Brady going to be intercepted a 3rd time. Picked up by Jalen Ramsey. And a big turnover there as his guys will get the football back. Well, certainly not on their side offensively. They had to take some chances, but that interception will further hinder their already slim chance at victory.
Yeah, and you're talking about time not on their side, but it's certainly...
And intercepted, maybe the turning point they need. Picked up by the Hall of Famer, Junior Seau. 2-score game here in the 4th, and that pick, it kind of keeps the door ajar, doesn't it?
It does, and you wonder about their strategy, because with a 2-score lead, you think maybe you're just sitting on it trying to drain some clock. It's almost like they felt like, hey, we've got a good cushion. We can keep pressing it. It ended up costing them.
As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you're talking about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the All-Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
Brady now on 1st down. He'll go over the middle to Reed, complete. And that's good for a pickup of 10 yards. And they'll be left with a 2nd and about a foot. To throw is Brady. Over the middle, he's got Tim Brown. The 6 yards on the pickup, and it leaves him with a 1st and goal. So 2 minutes to play in the John Madden Legacy game. The NFC trying to finish this one off. We're back to Oakland after this. 1st and goal, and they got to be thinking a chance to get right back into this football game. Firing quickly here, and that's complete. Touchdown! Andre Reed. A 1-yard touchdown reception. And the AFC able to use the short field as they cash in for 6 points. They do tack on the extra point as well. And now things get a bit more interesting here in this 4th quarter. And there's been a Terry now to kick it away after the touchdown. Fields it right around the goal line. And taken down just past the 20 at about the 21-yard line. Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. They can smell victory, partner. They can see it on the horizon, but certainly we're not done yet here. Defense still has 3 timeouts, and obviously this is a very slim lead they're holding on to.
And let's face it, the easiest way to get this done, challenge your ground game. Challenge your offensive line, your tight ends, your receivers, anyone who's going to lay down a block. Don't let there be penetration, because they're going to stack the line of scrimmage and maybe bring extra people to the ball. If you can do that, make them burn their timeouts, run out the clock, life will be good. But if you really want to gamble a little bit, a quick play action, quick throw, might be able to get it done. Just make sure it's not incomplete and stop the clock.
Man open, that's Deebo Samuel. Now the AFC going to take a timeout. It's their 2nd. And they'll be disappointed to have to burn one there after giving up the 1st down. On the counter now, it's Sanders. And he'll take this ahead for about 4. 2nd down coming up. Now the defense will burn their 3rd and final timeout as they'll talk things over prior to this upcoming 2nd down play. That one looks like he'll throw here. Oh, hit as he throws there, incomplete. Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for. It's something that you and I know a little bit. Now, look at this. They get the turnover they needed. It's intercepted. Picked up by the 13-time Pro Bowler Ray Lewis. And he is going to score. It's a pick 6 and an AFC touchdown. Vinatieri now to tack on the PAT. This puts them on top by a penny. It's 14-13. So the defense creating some points, not only getting the interception, but then returning it to the end zone for the pick six. Taking it about the 1. And good coverage there on special teams as they'll get him down shy of the 20. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. They're sort of seeing themselves spiral out of control. Let's see if they can get things back on track.
And this is where...
And he's going to be intercepted a third time. Picked up by 9-time Pro Bowler Ed Reed. And